Epic fantasy drama Outlander recently concluded its 5th season against a backdrop of the many looming threats lurking in untamed 18th century America. I'm Rob Licuria, Senior Editor at Gold Derby. I'm here with star Sam Heughan. Sam, there was something new and bold about Season 5's energy and impact. I felt it was more emotional and ambitious than ever. Do you agree that it was probably the strongest season since Season 1 and Season 2?
Rob, great to see you. And I totally agree with you. I think it's bold and emotional, I think is absolutely right. And I think when we shooting it, I mean, I hate to like jinx these things or put any pressure on it, but it did feel different. I felt, every time we got the scripts through and we were working on them, there were such big storylines. So much happens. Obviously they've used a lot of the storylines from the next book as well, but I think that the crafting of the storylines were great. And obviously, Jamie's storyline for me was a huge one. And since probably, I would say, I think Season 1, obviously for everyone, is one of our favorites. For me, I always loved Season 3 as a sort of personal journey for Jamie, but this one was huge. And the Murtagh storyline for me was just so good to get your teeth into, as they say. And what a season. Really good.
It was really good. I'm actually a Season 2 guy, but that's a whole other interview. We'll do that another time.
Good to know.
Is it any coincidence that you and Katrina became producers over Season 5? Did that help with your ability to help mold the way that the show was going to go?
I mean, of course. Yes, absolutely. I'm going to take all the credit.
Just do it.
No. I mean, actually, we didn't get the producer credit until quite late on in the process of the scripts being broken down. So to be honest, we didn't, for the early part of the season, get as much influence, but definitely I think towards the end, I think the writers and Matt B. Robertson have always been extremely generous in talking and having a dialogue with us as actors. But I think now being producers, I think, we definitely have more say. And I think the episode you really feel probably the main influence would be the last episode, the finale. That's where I think myself and Katrina were very close with the director and with Tony, obviously, and Matt, who wrote it. I think that's probably where you probably feel most of our influence. But it was really cool to get that producer credit and to just be involved a bit more and to go to production meetings, to see all the work that goes on behind the process, and also to have a say and be more in a collaborative role, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice of the producers and the network to let you and Katrina have that involvement. It just shows that they have kind of some confidence in your ability and you're obviously how critical you both are to the success of the show. Speaking of,
I think also just to pick up on there, Robert, is just like also, I mean, we've lost, or I wouldn't say lost, a lot of the creative side of Outlander have left. From costume designers to the showrunner to writers to production designers. So the only continuity of the show is, to be honest, is myself and Katrina in a way, especially on the ground every day. And I think it is very wise of the the network and the producers to sort of bring us on board. I think it's great. We are now the guardians of these characters and of the show, and it's a great honor to be able to have that influence. And as you said, it was a really clever idea, and it's been, I think, really beneficial to the show as well.
Absolutely. I mean, if you think about the season finale, that was a very fitting end to a very strong season. After Claire is abducted, tortured and raped, it's profoundly satisfying when a vengeful Jamie retaliates against the Browns and rescues her. And we have the whole part of the episode where she's dissociating and she's in the 60s. I know Katrina had a lot to do with the way that looked, and I know you did as well. How did you feel about that episode in particular? Because you should both be very proud of the way it turned out.
Yes, I think, we were very nervous about this last episode. It really deals with some very strong issues, strong emotions, and some pretty harrowing material. But I think that's why it probably worked so well, is that we really did collaborate so much with the writers, with the director, Jamie, who, we have to really thank. He approached this with great sensitivity, great detail. for weeks before, we were having meetings, myself and Katrina, in our trailers between takes, or shooting other stuff, talking about the tone of the piece, about what you would and wouldn't see of any of the assault or the violence, and then daily, even between scenes shooting it, it was very it was a really strong dialogue between all of us, and Tony as well, who I have to say was fantastic, the writer. She was on set with us, and looking at Jamie's part, I think initially the way it was scripted and the way it was presented, you would see Jamie in the 70s, in this sort of 70s world. And I was uncertain that I wanted to see him, fully realized by Claire. This is obviously part of her mind that is, she knows it's a fantasy, or she knows it's an escape. So it is fractured and it is disjointed. So I didn't want Jamie to be, fully realized, because she knows he can't be there. She knows this isn't a real world in the back of her subconscious somewhere. So what we tried to do was give a nod to who Jamie was in her most, I guess, the moments that she really treasures with Jamie. Season 1, the tartan being around her shoulders, the comfort he brings. So he's more of a, I guess, in a way, the feeling that he gives her, rather than this fully realized person in the 70s world, if that makes sense. And I think the costume definitely we talked about. It looks like Jamie's wearing the clothes from the past, but they're also modern. So it is a really sort of strange place. He's a bit of everything. An essence of Jamie, maybe.
Yeah, he was like the concept of Jamie. Because we have to remember, when she's going through her ordeal, the only two words she says are no and Jamie. Yeah. And then, so I mean, it really works. And then the season ends with a shattered Claire and Jamie, who has been through the ringer. They're holding each other in bed, and then we kind of leave it there. And it's a defining moment in their relationship. What really interests me is we end season 5 with her surviving that brutal sexual assault, just like we ended season 1 with Jamie having survived a very similar ordeal. How will this impact and perhaps strengthen their relationship, do you think?
Yeah, well, just, relating to what you said there, she does. The whole time through the ordeal, the only person she wants is Jamie. She knows if he's there, he's gonna hopefully be able to fix this. And I think, so he's never fully realized in her, I guess, fantasy until he is there in person, in real, and it's almost like she conjures him. But yes, I mean, obviously there's a lot of similarities between what happens to Jamie in season 1 and Claire at the end of the season. And I think, they have each other. However, they're fractured, they're broken, they're a family, and they're facing this future together. But the cracks are definitely there. And I would say, absolutely, by no way is she healed, but she's on that journey towards finding some sort of resolve in this whole situation. But they are absolutely not. I guess that's what makes it so interesting and so fantastic, is that these characters are broken in various ways, and they're facing this unknown future together. But they are together, and they are a family.
Yeah, exactly. And it would be like, I haven't read the books, but I'm expecting Jamie to reciprocate some of the comfort and help that she was able to provide to him. And that
absolutely.
It was such, as you said earlier, it was a really eventful season for Jamie. He almost dies from a poisonous snake bite. It was a really interesting way to put Jamie in an unusually vulnerable position. Do you enjoy exploring that side of him? Because, he's got to be strong for his family, but it's nice to see Jamie kind of in peril and relying on everybody else to kind of help him.
Yeah, that episode really kind of comes out of out of nowhere, really. And to be honest, I'd been so concentrated, so consumed by the storyline with Murtagh and losing Murtagh, and that whole storyline had been so immersive for me. The snakebite really kind of came out of nowhere, and it is almost like its own little chapter on its own. And it's fantastic, because it's not only Jamie having to confront his mortality, but but also this relationship with Roger that is, you know, finally being formed, this bond between them. And again, yeah, it was a really interesting episode to see Jamie having to rely on everyone else, having to rely on Roger, the man who he thinks is the most incapable man in this time. And Roger does it. He does it. You know, Roger has his own abilities that I think Jamie's really beginning to realize that, you know, he may not be a man of the time, but he does have his own attributes that are, you know, pretty special. And yeah, it's great. And I mean, to see Jamie at the end, you know, he chose to come back. He chose to come back for Claire because he loves her. But it's probably the second time I think Jamie's, you know, come this close to death. I think he has probably taken his last breath. You know, at Culloden was probably the other one. Yeah. And it's interesting that when he does, he has that monologue about going through a tunnel and going towards whatever it is, that it's Claire that brings him back. Like, it's a conscious decision for him to remain on this planet for her.
Yeah, there's so much connection with what happens at the end of the season. And as you say, the Jamie's relationship with Bree really developed. The relationship with Roger was great to watch. But I think it was that Murtagh stuff that really got us because well, many of us weren't expecting that to happen, for him to return as part of that regulator storyline. And it elevated it to have Duncan Lacroix in that. And then to have him die allowed you as Jamie to really go there as a very vulnerable and kind of devastated guy. And I'm just wondering, is that still very challenging to do on this show after all these years?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, absolutely having Murtagh as the leader of the regulators really puts Jamie in a dichotomy and really puts him in a position where he's torn between both sides. And I think if you didn't have that character there, I think for the viewer and possibly for Jamie, it'd be maybe easier for him to deal with the situation. But yeah, it really throws up a lot of problems for Jamie. And I think, you know, early on, I think it's the first episode where Jamie tells Murtagh to leave him. You know, I think that really is sort of foretelling where we're going to go with it. And I just loved all those scenes working with Duncan. He's such a generous, thoughtful and great character. And he's always been here, you know, that character as well. He's always been this constant silent companion for Jamie. He's been his father figure. He's been his guide. He's been his confidant. So for Jamie to lose that, it really is also the last, I guess, tangible thing he has to Scotland, to the Highlanders, and to this old way of life. And now he's lost that. So he really is now in America and this sort of new world. So it's hard for Jamie to lose that. And yeah, as your question was, you know, is it hard to still get to those places? No, not really. Not when you have great actors. Not when you have people like Duncan, you know, who just, you know, amidst all the madness of filming, you know, he just brings his A game. And even the episode after, you know, after episode 7, when we're at the funeral, you know, to see Jocasta, you know, mourning him, and it's really sad. There's actually Murtagh's cairn, his grave. We have at Fraser's Ridge on set, and I know there's something about it. It's beautifully positioned. It's just an amazing tree, and it's you know, it's a great sort of testament to Duncan and to his character. You know, he'll always be there for us.
He'll always be there. He will always be in our hearts. Speaking of that vulnerability, I think we've touched on this before, but Jamie's strength is his emotional intelligence and how that doesn't fit into the time period within which he lives. Vulnerability and sensitivity are traits that we don't, unfortunately, see often enough on TV, especially for leading men. In this day and age, how important is it for you to define and exhibit Jamie's masculinity, or his version of masculinity, in this particular way that's different and better, perhaps, and something we should be aspiring to?
Yeah, I think, you know, he is, on one hand, he's, you know, the all-action, heroic character, but I think the appeal for me, and I think possibly for the fans, is that he's always had this other side to him, this side that he is emotional, he's able to dig into those parts of himself, and I think that's what makes him such an interesting character, and the fact that he grows, he's willing to grow, to change, and I think learn from his experiences, and also from Claire, his partner, and you know, it's always been a strong part of what Katrina and I have tried to do with the characters, is that to try and find the growth of them, not only as individuals, but together. And what is their relationship now? What is their relationship now that, you know, he's 50 years old and they're grandparents, and, you know, how do they love? How do they coexist with each other? And it's really nice to find those moments now. We're finding, you know, when we get to see Jamie and Claire on their own and just kind of existing together. And it's something that actually he's always wanted. You know, Jamie's always wanted this life, to be surrounded by his family and his loved ones in a home. And so I think he's a great character, and it's also nice to see him become the man he is now, you know, using all the attributes he's had before, you know, the great leader, the great warrior, the general, but also, you know, he's almost the clan leader now in a sense.
Yeah, he's come a long way, and that's what we love about him. And we've got so much more to look forward to season 6. I have no idea what's going to happen yet. I don't really want to know. I'll just wait through Outlander. Katrina told me a couple of weeks ago that you both clicked instantly, and what she loves most about you is how you. And I think it's a really lovely thing to say. So I thought I'd ask from your point of view.
I missed that, actually. I missed that. What did she say about me?
She said she loves how you put your heart and soul into this role. And how you were transparent. Yeah, so I would like to know what you think her best quality is as an actor and your co-star.
Oh, wow. I think Katrina's strength. You know, she's always led from the front. She's intellectual. She's extremely intelligent, but very giving, and she's always very caring as well. So I think I'm just so lucky. You know, as she said, you know, we did click, I guess, from the start, and to be able to trust each other and have each other's back has been, you know, the most important part of this. And you know, there's always a weird time when we go away after shooting Outlander where we leave, and we're always in contact. She'll call me and I'll text her and we'll meet up and whatever. But that first day back at work, it's almost like we're slightly tiptoeing or slightly shy of each other. And then, you know, we fall back into our routine, and we're idiots. You know, we laugh a lot, we talk rubbish, and we're very childish, but it's great to have her as you know, she drives, she pushes hard, and she's very thorough as well. She does a lot of work, and I just couldn't be more thankful for such a great co-star.
Yeah, you know, like obviously you're at a point in your career where eventually Outlander will wind down and you'll have other projects and you'll move on to hopefully bigger and better things. But when I speak to a lot things but when I speak to actors in particular, a lot of them tell me, particularly ones that are around 40, 50, 30 even, they say, like, you're lucky enough to get that one role where you get to do everything that defines you, it defines your career and your personality. And you've had that with Outlander. You've been very fortunate. Does that occur to you how this role will kind of stay with you for the rest of your life?
Yeah, that's nice of you to kind of see that. I think absolutely, you know, you look at other actors and their careers and you realize that there's always a defining role. And I mean, this is absolutely going to be mine. Of course, I think it's always going to be with me. And as we get, you know, further on in the sort of the lifetime of this show, you know, we're going into season 6 now. And I think, yeah, I can see where the end might possibly be. And it's hard to think about that and hard to think about what will happen when the show is over. I think we'll all miss it greatly. We already are, you know, on Outlander, on everything that's going on in the world. So yeah, I think it's going to be, I don't know how I'm going to get through it, probably therapy or something, but there's definitely some sort of ceremony that I'm going to have to do to kind of come to terms with it being over. But I think what we've created a bond between all of us as actors, as writers, as a whole team. You know, we know we're on something special, and the fans, you know, they've been incredible the whole way on this journey, and they've really made it. You know, if it wasn't for them, obviously we wouldn't be here. So I don't know what I'm going to do when it's all over.
I have faith that you'll be all right. But It reminds me when I see you on social media, I see how much you and the cast and crew mean to these fans, and you've done so much charity work, and your My Peak challenge is so popular, and it must be so satisfying to see people posting their results online, and you seem to comment on them as much as you can. I'm sure you have lots of things going on in your life, but you seem to make the time for them. That's really special. Like that must be very satisfying to you.
It is, yeah. From day one, you know, of being on the show, being cast, I think, you know, we loved having interaction with fans, and I would say that Katrina and I still do as much as we can, and actually right now it's a great time to be able to talk to people online. I mean, you know, it has its own challenges, and I think, you know, people are aware of those, but you know, you can give as much of yourself as we can. You know, I try to engage with as many people as possible and support as many projects or charities as I can, but obviously we don't want to overwhelm people with all these different, you know, projects. But it's great. It's a great part of the show, and I think the fans have got behind everything. You know, they get behind whatever we're supporting. They jump in with it, and I think that's testament to probably to Diana's books and also to the show.
Yeah, and finally, Stars picked up your new series, Men in Kilts, with Graham Tavish. That's really exciting. Tell us all about that, because now everyone's just buzzing about it online.
Good. Yes. Yeah. You know, I've been working on producing things, and this was one of the first ideas I'd been looking for something to produce, and I was chatting to Graham, and we talked about this idea, and initially we were going to do a podcast, and then I thought, well, why don't we just shoot it as a sort of mini series, and really the sort of footage we got and the tone of the piece was so fun. We cut it together, some trailers, and yeah, we're fortunate we found an amazing home. Obviously it's a great fit with Stars, and I can't wait for people to see it. You know, he's a great travel companion. He's grumpy, he's tired, and it's TV gold. It's TV gold. You want to go on a road trip with me and Graham. It's a lot of fun.
I can't wait. And mate, I can't wait for season 6. Thank you so much for a great season 5. We have thoroughly enjoyed watching you and Katrina and the rest of the cast. And thanks for your time today, mate. It's been much appreciated.
Oh, mate, it's always good to see you. I'm sorry the internet gods were not on our side.
We got there though, mate. We got there, and I'm very thankful.
Awesome.
Coucou les addicts, c'est Aurélie du site Outlander Addict et j'ai un message pour vous. Si cette vidéo vous a plu, n'hésitez pas à vous abonner à la chaîne, à mettre un like ou à partager cette vidéo sur vos réseaux en cliquant sur le bouton partager qui se trouve juste en dessous. Pour prolonger votre expérience, je vous encourage à visiter régulièrement mon site internet outlander-addict.com. Vous y retrouverez des traductions, des articles et plein d'infos et d'actualités sur Outlander. À très bientôt.